Today we're going to learn about enums in Rust. We'll explore not just how enums work, but how they carry data, how to use them with match, and how they power two of the most important types in the standard library, option and result. Grab your keyboard, because we're going to write a lot of code today. Ready? Let's dive in. So first, what is an enum? In Rust, an enum, short for enumeration, lets you define a type that can be one of several variants. Let's take a basic example. This enum says that a direction can only ever be one of these four values, just like an enum in other languages. Let's use it in main. See what's happening here? The match keyword allows us to check each possible variant of the enum. And Rust is strict. It won't compile unless we account for every possible case. That's powerful, because it prevents bugs from sneaking in when we forget to handle a situation. As we are not constructing down, left, and right enum variants, it is giving us a warning. To disable this lint warning, we can use the dead code attribute. In this video, we will allow dead code in some places, but make sure that in real programs, you should eliminate dead code. Let's look at something real quick. Rust forces exhaustive matching. If you forget to cover a match arm, Rust won't let your code compile. This will throw a compile time error. But that's actually a good thing. You can't forget to handle edge cases. No more silent bugs just because you didn't think of an input. But what if you don't care about certain values? You can use a wildcard pattern, underscore. The underscore is a wildcard pattern used within the match expression. After checking for the up and down variants of the direction enum, the underscore acts as a catch-all for any other possible value. This means if the go variable is direction left or direction right, the underscore pattern will match it, and the code will execute the associated print statement. This is a crucial feature that ensures a match expression is exhaustive, meaning it handles all possible cases of the enum, preventing potential runtime errors. It provides a concise way to handle all remaining cases without having to list each one explicitly. This is handy for quickly mocking things or ignoring variants in early development. Now here's where Rust enums become next level. We can attach data to enum variants. In Rust, enum variants can carry data. Yup, that's right. Think of it like enums plus structs, all in one. Let's model a message enum with different kinds of messages. Some are just signals, some carry a string, and others have structured data. Let me break that down. Quit is just a simple variant, no data. Move has named fields like a mini-struct. Write holds a string. Change color holds a tuple of 3 integers, maybe for RGB. Let's try using it in a function. The process message function takes a message enum as input and uses a match expression to perform a specific action based on the variant. Now let's test it. In main, for different message variants are created and then passed to process message, which uses pattern matching to extract the associated data from each variant and print relevant information, showcasing how Rust's enums can encapsulate both a type and its relevant data in a single, robust structure. Sometimes you want an enum to hold a struct. Let's define a simple status enum that wraps a struct. Here we defined a coordinates struct to hold latitude and longitude values and a status enum that can represent a user being either online with associated coordinates or offline with no data. Let's use it. In the main function, a user variable is created with the online status and the coordinates. We then use a match expression to check the user's status. If the user is online, it extracts and prints the latitude and longitude from the coordinates struct. Otherwise, it prints a message indicating the user is offline. So flexible, so expressive. You're basically encoding your application logic into the type system. You've already been using enums in Rust, whether you knew it or not. One of the most common is the option enum. Here we define a generic enum named choice that can hold a value of any type T inside its sum of type T variant or represent the absence of a value with its none variant. This is Rust's way of representing a value that might be there or might not, instead of using null. Here's how you use it. In the main function, 3 variables are created. Number, which holds an integer 42 within a choice sum variant. String, which holds a string within a choice sum variant. And no value, which holds the choice none variant. The code then uses match expressions to check the state of each choice variable. If a variable is sum, it prints the contained value. Otherwise, it prints a message indicating that no value was found. This demonstrates how to handle different data types and the presence or absence of a value using a custom generic enum. And yes, this is exactly the same pattern matching we saw earlier. You handle both cases, sum and none. The compiler forces you to handle the none case, so you don't crash with a null dereference. Let's look at another example. In this example, we defined a custom generic enum find result to represent the outcome of a search, which can either be found with an associated value t or not found. The find index function iterates through a slice of integers to find a target value, returning find result found, with the index if the target is found, or find result not found otherwise. In main function, we use find index with numbers 30 and 99. We handle the result using a match expression. If you want to simplify it, you can use if-let statement. Option makes you explicitly handle the case where a value might not exist, avoiding crashes from nulls. Just like option, Rust has another enum for errors. The result enum in Rust is a generic type that represents the outcome of an error-prone operation, containing either a successful value of type T in its OK variant or a failure value of type E in its error variant. Let's define a custom generic enum, division result, to represent an operation that can either succeed or fail, carrying a successful value of type T in the success variant or an error value of type E in the failure variant. Let's simulate a function that might fail. The divide function takes two floating point numbers and returns a division result. If the divisor b is 0, it returns a failure variant containing an error message string. Otherwise, it returns a success variant containing the calculated quotient. Let's use it. In the main function, the divide function is called twice, once with valid inputs and once with a division by 0 error. A match expression is used in both cases to gracefully handle the returned division result, printing either the successful result or the specific error message. This illustrates a robust and type-safe approach to handling fallible operations in Rust without relying on exceptions or null values. This pattern is everywhere in Rust. Now let's look at the custom enums. We can model a state machine using custom enums by defining a set of discrete states, some of which can carry associated data. Here's where enums really shine, modeling states. Let's model a simple state machine for a file download. The download status enum defines 4 distinct states: not started, no associated data; in progress with U8, to track the percentage, completed with a string for the file path, and failed with a string for the error message. Here's how we can use it. The check status function takes a download status variant and uses a match expression to perform a specific action, such as printing a status message, based on the current state of the download. We can simulate the download like this. In the main function, the code simulates a download in progress and a completed download by creating instances of the corresponding enum variants and passing them to check status, demonstrating how the enum and the match statement work together to manage the flow of a state machine. Enums let you model real-world problems cleanly and safely, one of the key reasons developers love Rust. In Rust, enums can be used as the type of a field within a struct, allowing a struct to hold a value from a predefined set of choices. We can combine enums and structs like this. The task struct represents a task with a title and a status, while the task status enum defines the fixed set of possible states a task can be in: to do, in progress, or done. We can use it like this. In main, several task instances are created with different initial statuses. We print the task details of task 1. The print task details function takes a task and uses a match expression to check the status field, printing a user-friendly string based on the enum's current variant. We then update the status of task 1 from to do to in progress and use the print task details function to display the state of each task, illustrating how a struct can hold and manage a state value defined by an enum. This code demonstrates how a struct and an enum can be combined to model a task management system. This is how you'd model things like a to-do app or workflow engine. Let's take a quick peek at something advanced. Enums can be recursive. Let's define a simple list. Here we defined a recursive data structure, a singly linked list, using an enum named list. The list can be either cons, representing a non-empty node that holds an I32 value and a box containing another list, or nil, representing the end of the list. The box of type list part means we're using a heap-allocated pointer to avoid infinite size. Rust doesn't allow recursive types unless they're boxed. You could build a list like this. Here we are using a use declaration that brings the cons and nil variants of the list enum into the current scope. This allows you to use cons and nil directly, without having to prefix them with list every time. This makes the code more concise and easier to read, especially when working with deeply nested data structures like the linked list in this example. In the main function, a linked list is constructed. It starts with the value 1, which points to another cons node with the value 2, which in turn points to a cons node with the value 3, and finally, this node points to nil, marking the end of the list. The use of box is crucial here because it allows lists to hold a pointer to another list on the heap, preventing the recursive type from having an infinite size at compile time. This might look strange at first, but it's powerful. You can represent trees, linked lists, and more with this structure. A match expression is then used to pattern match against the first element of the list. It destructures the cons variant to extract the integer value of the first node and prints it to the console. The rest of list part of the pattern is a wild card that ignores the rest of the list, as the code is only interested in the value of the first element. And there you have it. Enums aren't just for simple flags or directions. They're one of Rust's most expressive features, letting you handle optional values, errors, state machines, and so much more with clarity and safety. If you understand option, result, and custom enums, you're already miles ahead in building clean, expressive, bug-resistant Rust programs. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.